So before I begin, I'm on the go, so I apologize for any of the weird audio that you're going to hear today, echoes, things like that. This all does get easier, I promise. But one of the things that we need to work on when it comes to breakups or dating or anything related to romance is overthinking it. There are so many times where I talk to a client and they just want the situation to be resolved. They just want things to work out, and fair enough. But I think when we get in our own way, and when we question, does the other person like me? What do they think of me? And we're getting clear signs that they do, but we just can't get out of our own way and see the forest for the trees. Or when it comes to a breakup, did my ex ever love me? Do they think about me? And we'll always place them as though they are some special, different human that's never existed until today. And not look at the human condition and say, well, I miss first grade sometimes, so yeah, my ex is probably missing me. Or we will go back into the dating game after some time being single after a breakup or something, and we won't be having so much luck because of these dating apps and things like them, and just the changes to the world in general. And we'll be asking ourselves if we're good enough, if we're attractive enough, even though, for months to years, we had a romantic partner who we liked quite a bit. So obviously we were good enough and we valued them and their opinions, so they must have some type of judgment. Otherwise, this wouldn't be working out in any way, shape, or form. And I'm not going to spend too much time diving deeply into overthinking. You guys know what overthinking is. You know your own personal brand of overthinking. The main question comes to, how do we stop? And this is where we turn to things like journaling. And I keep mentioning journaling, and some of you are confused as to why. Journaling is a new avenue of writing down your thoughts and feelings in an organized fashion. And at first, it's not even going to be organized. It's just going to be a chaotic mess, as it should be, because you're probably going through something that's really difficult. It's important to remember that your feelings are valid. How you are doing matters. And I say this all the time on this channel. How you feel is important. Equally important, perhaps even more important, is what you do. And how you feel and what you do should never, or rather, at least in this context, they should rarely meet. We don't want to act out on a moment of anxiety. What we want to do is focus on ourselves. We want to journal. We want to speak with our counselor, because these things are addressing our mental health. And our mental health is what greatly increases the likelihood that we're overthinking. If our mental health is bad, yeah, we're probably a lot more prone to anxiety, panic attacks, overthinking. And if our mental health is at an all-time high, well, I'm betting we're not really doing much of that. Maybe a little bit, but no more than any typically developing person would. And so it's important to remember that our mind is a machine in our body. And just like eating to sustain ourselves, exercising to sustain muscles, we need to exercise our brain. So journaling is one of those things that can really do that. It can help address overthinking greatly, as can talking with, and I hate to put it this way, a really blunt, logical friend. Now, remember, the objective of speaking to this person is to help with the overthinking. If you are looking for more empathy, well then obviously you want to go with a friend who's a bit more empathetic, a bit more of a listening ear. But if you want to be able to, like I said earlier, see the forest for the trees, then you should speak with someone who can bring you down to earth and help you understand, okay, right, this makes sense. So often when people are going through breakups or dating scenarios that are uncomfortable, having them see in plain English with evidence, if it's possible, here's what's going on, here's what you need to worry about, here's what you don't need to worry about. Just giving them a modicum of understanding will help so much more with their anxiety. And not always, right? We're complicated creatures, and sometimes our anxiety is completely irrelevant and irrational, and sometimes it's quite relevant and quite rational. No different than seeing a dog. If you're afraid of being bit by a dog, and a cute, cuddly little dog comes up to you, it doesn't matter if the owner says that dog won't bite you. You realize, now that a dog has been introduced into the situation, it's possible that the dog bites you. So I guess it's equally important not to beat yourself up for overthinking. It's just to accept that you do it from time to time, and try and find a helpful, easy way through it. And in my case, and in the case of most of my clients, talking it out with friends, journaling, counseling, and making sure to put your phone away and go outside and walk around in the sun and go to the gym if you can. Things like that do so much to combat this. Obviously, avoid the negative things, avoid the social media, avoid the stalking, avoid the asking mutual friends about your ex or does so-and-so like me. Just cut out stuff like that because you know it's not going to feel any better. You know the questions are going to keep coming, and ultimately just leave yourself alone. You're doing fine. So next week, I'm going to be covering quite a long video about the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, or MBTI. For those that don't know, if you've ever been on a dating app and seen somebody type 4 letters in their profile somewhere, that's the Myers-Briggs, and I'll explain more about it next week. And I hope you guys will enjoy that. I think it'll be really interesting, and it will be a useful tool to help you figure yourself out a bit. Don't treat it like it's a horoscope. Rather, treat it as something useful that might give you a couple new angles to think about. And obviously, we'll cover that more for next week. So I hope everybody's doing well. Leave yourself alone. You are doing fine. As always, if you want to work with me personally, you can visit my website, thelovechat.net/coaching. And if you'd like a discount, type in the code TLC2021. And if you want to hang out with us on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/HiRory. And that's more for fun. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your week. And I'll talk to you all next week. Until next time.